Next, we'll look at the structure of the valves of the heart. When blood flows through the heart, it only flows in one direction. The valves are going to be helpful in making sure that the blood does not flow backwards and continues to flow in that one direction. There are a total of 4 valves in the heart, and we can group them into 2 sets of 2. The first set here are the atrioventricular valves, or the AV valves. These are found between an atrium and a ventricle. And then the other 2 valves are inside of the arteries that leave the heart, and these are called the semilunar valves. The function of all of these valves is to prevent the backflow of blood. So the AV valves are going to prevent blood from going from the ventricle back to the atrium, and then the semilunar valves are going to prevent blood in the arteries from flowing back into the ventricles. Here's a bit of a closer look at just the valves. On the top here, we can see the atrioventricular valves. These are located between an atrium and a ventricle. The blood passes through the AV valves when it enters the ventricle from the atrium. Each valve is consisted of either 2 or 3 cusps or flaps that close to prevent the backflow of blood. The right AV valve is called the tricuspid valve. It has 1, 2, 3 cusps and is found between the right atria and the right ventricle. And then the left AV valve is called the bicuspid valve with 1, 2 cusps. And this is found between the left atrium and the left ventricle. This is often called the mitral valve, and this is the more common term to use is mitral valve. Going back to the lateral view of these valves, you can see that at the inferior end, they attach to those tendons called the chordae tendineae, which stretch down to the papillary muscles, which then attach to the walls of the ventricle. When the ventricle contracts, it pulls on these chordae tendineae. It keeps tension on the valve, and it keeps them closed. And this is going to prevent blood from going backwards, so that when the ventricle contracts, the blood only has one exit to go towards either the pulmonary trunk or the aorta. The other set of valves are called the semilunar valves. These are located in the arteries and named for the artery that they are in. The aortic valve is found inside of the aorta, and then the pulmonary valve is found inside of the pulmonary trunk. Blood exits the ventricles through the semilunar valves into these arteries, and then the valves close to prevent the blood from flowing back into the ventricle. Each of these has 3 small cusps that are shaped like little cups, so this is where they get the name semilunar. Once the blood has passed into the artery, the little cups fill up with blood, which actually closes the valve. And so the pressure of the blood in the artery prevents it from flowing back into the ventricle. When the valves in the heart are not functioning properly, this can lead to valvular heart disease. And there's 2 main different types of valvular heart disease. Insufficiency is going to be caused by the valves not closing properly. So if the valves can't close fully, then some of the blood is going to be able to backflow. So it might backflow back into the atria or back into the ventricle, depending on which valve is insufficient. And then another cause of heart disease is called stenosis. So in stenosis, the valves can become hard and calcified or inflexible. This means they're going to be harder to open and close. The heart has to pump harder to get the blood through the valves in the first place. Often valvular heart disease is treated by surgically replacing the damaged valve and then replacing it with either a mechanical valve or a valve from a human cadaver or a pig.